Ladies and gentlemen, isn't it terrific to see the PM and the Premier leading from the front? They could not be with us today, but they are with us in their strong message of support. But more importantly, I'm confident they will lead from the front at next week's critically important AGM by ensuring that our motion is not only heard, but fully supported by the Prime Minister and the Premier. Not a bad combination. You saw the powerful statements of support from the entire spectrum of the leadership this morning. It will certainly take no less than the collective will of the lifeblood of the party, its membership and the courage of the leadership to effect the changes that will reinstate the party to its rightful position. We have to ensure that change is underpinned by values and a culture that we can all be proud of, a culture that listens to its membership, listens to the electorate. The party will never have a strong connection with the broader electorate unless it first establishes a strong connection to its immediate supporter base, the grassroots that is the cornerstone of the party. We must start by getting our own house in order, by proceeding with the principle of one member, one vote. This is the catch cry underpinned by valuing and respecting every member in the simplest and most powerful way, by giving every member a genuine say in who is their local member in all the relevant internal elections reflected in our motion before State Council. I have no interest in discrimination and prejudice reflected in the current system based on two classes of members. They are the all-powerful who have a say and the 95% of the party who are the forgotten members that have been silenced. Menzies would not be pleased. The irony would not be lost on him to find that the new forgotten people are the members of his own party. We will be discussing many aspects of the proposed model later in the meeting, but I would like to dispel a specific criticism of a democratised system from the opponents of democratic reform who are finding it harder to justify their opposition to inevitable change. The ludicrous claim that a more democratised system will encourage branch stacking and a shift of a fringe of ideology. This has not been the Queensland or Victorian experience, which has clearly benefited from democratic reform, more of which we'll hear from Marcus Bastian as a member of the Victorian State Executive. Let me use a simple example. The recent Senate pre-selection that robbed the nation of the parliamentary service of two brilliant and outstanding Australians, Major General Jim Molan and Dr. Michael Fenley. This candidate selection process could not have been more manipulated, and it's not hard to see how this can happen. There were only 165 pre-selectors to influence. This may seem like a lot, but not when vested interests had 30 years to create a cloistered and atrophied system that is open to abuse. The proposed democratic approach would welcome the voting of 8,000 Liberal Party members across New South Wales. Can someone explain to me how the opponents of democratic reform can think that it's easier to exert control over 8,000 members across the entire state than 165 members have been appointed over many years? It's time to get real and apply primary school maths. The more members that have a say, the harder it is to manipulate or branch stack the system. This is where the shift occurs from patronage to merit. This is where Jim Molan and Michael Fenley would have come into their own. So thank you so much for coming. It is customary in Liberal Party meetings at the outset to acknowledge the dignitaries. Well, we are honoured to have so many fine leaders with us, but today I want to break with protocol. The people I want to acknowledge are the rank and file members who have come along today. If you're in this room, you're a fighter for a good cause. So many people have joined our party, found a closed shop and have failed to return. The people in this room are the truest of true believers. It's not easy being a member of the New South Wales Liberal Party when you want to take a stand for democratic reform. We've got an entrenched factional establishment fighting to retain control as part of their professional occupations. The people in this room are volunteers who give a damn about the Liberal Party because we know it's the only vehicle we have for good government in this country. There are people in this room who have been in the party for 50 years. There are people in this room who work tirelessly for the party without any reward except the hope of good government. Everyone in this room deserves an Order of Metal, Australia Medal in my view. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not an easy fight, but democratic reform of the New South Wales Liberal Party is in the national interest. In a few moments we'll hear from each of our guest speakers, and we have strictly limited them to 5 minutes. But today is really about you. After our guest speakers have concluded, we will hear from you. We want to hear what people think about some of the technicalities of reform. How long should a member belong to the party before we can vote in a plebiscite? Should the entire membership vote for our Senate candidates? If so, how's the ballot run? These are the type of questions we want to have a robust discussion about today. Before I introduce our first speaker, I would like to acknowledge an important apology. Connie Fierravanti-Wells is discharging her duties this morning as the Minister for International Relations with the Prime Minister in meeting with the Prime Minister of Fiji. However, I am delighted to inform you that Karen McNamara, the former member for Dobell, will be representing the Minister this morning. We will hear from Karen shortly. In the meantime, I am honoured to introduce our first speaker, who is someone who brings a stellar academic and business career to Parliament. Angus Taylor recently took a bold stand for the membership at the Sydney Institute address, which reverberated across the country. Angus, thank you for being here. Thank you for your recent stand, and I invite you to the podium.